Like, honestly, sometimes I think books and movies and social media, it just like consumes us to this point that like we can't even live our lives. What's up, guys? I'm Emily, and I create Christ-centered conversations about topics missing from mainstream messages. So if that's your cup of tea, make sure to subscribe. And while you're at it, if you want to follow along with the behind-the-scenes stuff of my life, you can follow me on my Instagram, which will be linked down in the description box below. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Today's video is something that, from my experience from talking to myself and many other people, this is something that most women struggle with. So if you are a woman or a girl listening to this, I get it, the struggle's real. And I want to talk to you today about some things that we can do to fight the trap of comparison. So I actually had a realization this week when I was going to a party with a bunch of other people, and I was like, man, I was just like really struggling with comparing myself to them, because I'm like, well, they're so beautiful. Like, how am I gonna compare to them? Like, how can I wear something that'll make me look as good as they do? And it was kind of in like the self-deprecating way of like, well, I'll never look as good as they will. Like, why even bother? But at the same time, feeling like I need to wear something good so that I can at least be on a similar playing field as them. And what I realized as I was like prepping for this party and kind of like getting super anxious about it, I had all of my focus on myself. And that's what I've realized comparison does. Like, sometimes I think when we think about comparison, we think of like scrolling through Instagram and seeing other people and being like, wow, they're really pretty or whatever. Or seeing people around and being like, oh my gosh, they always wear good clothes. Like, they always have a certain vibe. They just look so carefree. Why can't I be more like that? And it seems like it's actually really others focused, you know? Like, I'm focusing on other people. I'm focusing on what they do, what they look like. But the reality is, when you compare, you have to compare to something. When you compare to yourself, you're putting all of your focus onto you. So as I was getting ready for this party and I was thinking about it, I started realizing that I was like, all right, let's say I'm a Christian, which I am. And my goal as a Christian is to glorify God, which it is. My goal is to make Christ look absolutely much more magnified than myself, than other people, than anything in this world. But how in the world am I supposed to do that if all I'm focused on is myself and my clothes and what I'm wearing and how I look? It's the reason why it causes so much anxiety and just like kind of eats away at people is not because we're so others focused and seeing other people. And like, you know, some people will be like, in order to beat comparison, you have to just like focus on yourself. Like, doesn't matter what other people are doing, doesn't matter what they're wearing, what they look like, just focus on you. The problem that I'm realizing is that actually when I'm comparing myself to others the most is when I'm the most focused on myself. And that's what eats me up. That's the part that really gets to me. It's not because I'm so others focused. It's because I'm so me focused. Because I care about what I look like and what I wear, and about what other people think of me. In order to fight this, what I've been doing is, and I'm not even literally close at all, so I don't want you to be like, oh my gosh, she did this one thing and then all of her problems were fixed. That's not true. But what I've been trying to do is take my focus off of myself and put it onto other people. Because I can't serve other people if all I'm thinking about is myself. I can't make Christ look magnified if all I'm thinking about is myself. So when I was getting ready for this party, I was thinking, for me, it's a lot about clothing. It's about what I wear and how does what I wear compare to what other people wear. And not only like what I wear, but like how I look in it, you know? Like, how revealing is this? Is it too revealing? Is it not revealing enough? Like, how can I like strike that balance between like beautiful and sexy, you know, that kind of stuff. So for me, what I had to do was I had to make the decision before going to this party, like, I'm gonna wear something that will not make me think about myself. I'm not sure if that like makes sense or if you get that, but for me, when I think about what I'm wearing, I get so focused on like what I look like in certain things and whether it's attracting the right attention, you know, stuff like that. And if I'm wearing something that is more revealing, or like a potato sack, you know, they're like two ends of the spectrum. If I'm wearing something too revealing or something that makes me feel like a nun, I'm gonna be super focused on myself. I'm gonna be like, how am I looking? Like, is this too low cut? Can I jump around in it? Like, do I need to like keep tugging down at my dress because it's too short? Or, you know, I don't dress like a nun usually. Usually my tendency is towards more revealing. But the point is that when I wear certain things, it puts the focus on myself, because I'm focused on how am I looking, and do I need to like keep adjusting myself? And that makes me take my focus off of other people and onto myself, because I am looking at myself, I'm looking at other people, and I'm comparing what I'm wearing, how I look, to what they're wearing and how they look. And so what I had to do for this party was I had to decide, like, I'm not gonna wear something that's gonna make me do that. And I can do that, you know? I can choose a different dress, and that's what I had to do. Like, I had this really pretty dress that I was gonna wear, and I did not wear it, because I was like, I know if I wear this dress, I'm going to be thinking about how I look in this dress the whole time. The whole time. And I'm not gonna be able to enjoy myself. I'm not gonna be able to have fun. I'm not gonna be able to talk to other people. I'm not gonna be able to take the focus off of myself. So that's one thing that kind of helped me this week when I was thinking about comparison and I was trying to fight that, was just like, are there practical things that I can do before the time when I know it'll be tempting? So for me, it was this party. I know that this is gonna be a tempting situation for me to compare and to look at myself. So is there something I can do ahead of time that makes it so that it's easier for me in that moment? And for me, that was, I'm gonna wear a different dress. I'm gonna wear a dress that doesn't make me think about myself, that I'm not worried about how I'm looking in it, that I'm just like, I look good, I like how I look, it's not too revealing, and I'm confident in it. And it doesn't bring a lot of attention to me, or I don't feel like I'm trying to focus on myself or like make myself look a certain way. It was just like striking that balance right in the middle. Because that's why comparison gets so tricky and sticky, is because we could spend a whole night focusing on ourselves and comparing, and then we get to the end and we're like, what did I do? Like, what did I literally just do for the past 2 hours? Just focused on myself. Just thought about, how do I look? How are other people thinking of me? And it's not just destructive because it hurts our image of ourselves, because it makes us think worse of ourselves, which is not a good thing, really. Like, I'm not downplaying that. It's not good. And it's really difficult. But even worse than that, it makes it so that we're not focused on God at all. We're not thinking about Christ. We're not thinking about how to serve his people. We're not looking for gospel opportunities, you know? Like, these things that are supposed to be a part of the Christian life, when we are so focused on ourselves in comparing ourselves to others, we miss out on these opportunities for friendship. We miss out on these opportunities for relationships. We miss out on like what's actually going on in the present moment around us. But we can't do that when we think about ourselves, when we just look at ourselves. And I do also recognize that a lot of comparison comes from the media. So social media, our friends who post things, you know, people who only post what they look good in, you know? Most people aren't out there being like, wow, I look so bad in this picture. Can't wait to post it on Instagram and get no likes. Like, no one does that. People post what they look good in, what they feel confident in, what they know people will like and comment on and say, oh my gosh, you're so beautiful. And not that that's necessarily wrong, but add that to movies and books and things that just make us so hyper aware of how we look. That is the draw. And people who write books know that. People who write movies know that. Write movies, direct movies, you know, like, they know that. They know what they're doing. They know that that's the thing that's going to get views, because that's what people want to watch. And it stinks, because then we're bombarded by all of these images of like what I should look like. And there's no conversation about how like literally every single person is so beautiful. Anyway, my point in saying that is just that sometimes in order to get our mind off of ourselves, it might be helpful for a little bit at least to take a break from these medias that are trying to tell us what we should look like and what is beautiful, and instead just like live our lives. Like, honestly, sometimes I think books and movies and social media, it just like consumes us to this point that like we can't even live our lives. And it's not to say that all books and all movies and all social media is bad. Obviously, it's not to say that. But it is to say that like sometimes we get trapped in it, and sometimes we just need to take a step back and reevaluate. So if you find yourself comparing to other people and it really feels overwhelming, like take a good look at what you're surrounding yourself with, what kind of images and media you are around, and go from there. See if there's anything that cutting it out for a little bit might be helpful in that endeavor. And in all things, practicing taking our minds off of ourselves and serving other people and serving the Lord and focusing on Him and being satisfied in Him and praising Him. I mean, when was the last time that you've like praised God for how He made you? And of course there's more to it than that, because there always is. Like, that's a nuanced conversation, and I get that. So I don't like just like saying random quick phrases and then having people be like, what does she mean by that? But I think it's true. I think sometimes we just need to praise God for who we are. And what the Bible says is even more than that, is that actually what we should be cultivating, according to 1 Peter, is a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great value to God. Not only is it of great value to God, but that is the thing that the faithful women of the past in the Bible clothe themselves with. Like Sarah. People who were faithful, you know, people who, as Christians, like when I'm thinking about like who do I want to emulate, I think of like faithful Christian women. You know, like the Proverbs 31 woman who laughs without fear of the future. Like, what if that's how we defined ourselves, and that's how we not compared ourselves to other people? Because guys, we sin so much. I mean, like, it would be so easy for me to be like, I'm not going to compare myself to what other people look. I'm going to compare myself to the Proverbs 31 woman, and I'm going to just try to laugh without fear of the future. Like, I would, for me personally, maybe that would work for you, but for me, that would get me so down on myself, because I would be like, oh my gosh, she did everything perfectly. She loved her husband. I don't have a husband, but you know, like, she loved and respected her husband. She went out and worked in the field. She provided for her family. She was faithful to God. She wasn't worried about the future. And I'm like, I worry all the time. I literally worry about tomorrow. Like, how? And then I'm just gonna be like, it's impossible to never. And I would spiral, as you can tell. So it's not that we compare ourselves necessarily to faithful women of the past, but we see them and we say, Lord, make me more like that. Give me those kind of characteristics, because He can. He's the one who equips people with faith, who makes them strong in their faith, who puts away their worries and calms their souls. Like, that is our God, and He's good. Sometimes in order to fight these thought patterns that we have, we need to come up with like counter thought patterns, if that makes sense. Things that we can say to ourselves. There's like, nope, that's not true. Like, I have a thought and it is not true. It is not from the Lord. So what is my opposite thought that I can tell myself? I can say, hey, the Lord made me like this. He made every single person exactly how He made them. And that's beautiful. How can I praise you? You know, and you kind of talk yourself out of it. Comment down below, what are your go-to phrases or refocusing your thoughts? How do you do that? Are there certain things that you say to yourself in order to take your mind off of yourself, in order to not compare? Because I feel like if we can share those with other women, we can encourage each other, and we can build each other up, and because this is difficult. Like, this is a hard thing to do. And so I think if we can just more equip ourselves with the ability to fight these thoughts when they come with truth, I think that is going to be really powerful. So anyway, comment that down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful to you. I hope it struck a chord at least. I know it's something that a lot of people struggle with, so I don't want to take it lightly, and I know that it's hard to talk about the whole spectrum of comparison in like a 15-minute video. So my apologies for the things that came off as if I didn't understand, because I know we all have different struggles and we all deal with this in different ways. So as always, have a great week. Have a great life. Have a great life. I'm not even going to try to redo that.